What's up, everybody? Welcome back to I Want Entertainment. We are here, 11 confessional with Garrett. Garrett, how you feeling? Top six.
Yeah, it's still we're still cruising, and I mean I feel okay because I feel like I can argue if I do get put on the block against anyone that I go up against. So that I feel good about. I guess technically me and Sharonica up on the block would be the hardest one to beat. Um, but yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know if Jackie would ever do that, but it's possible. And so I do like my chances of surviving a block, but also I think I might hit the block, so that's also not fun. But it's whatever. It's so late in the game that hitting the block at this point you gotta expect and just be able to work around.
How'd your conversation with Jackie go?
It went well, but it's confusing because Sharanka told me that she's definitely putting me up, and then Jackie reassured me that I'm not going up. So I was like, "What? What do you mean I'm not
Do you
going
think
up?"
that do you think that either Jackie said one thing last night changed your mind, or do you think what Sharonica told you is fact and Jackie is chatting shit to you?
Who knows? I don't know. I mean, Jackie does strike me as somebody that is a very kind of when you get to the end game, you have to realize your path. And so if she does not see a clear path, then I do believe her. If she does see a clear path, then yeah, I don't really know why she was lying to me. If she like it's weird. Like I don't know what reason Jackie has to lie to me about wanting to work with me at this point when like
And that's the vibe you got from the call, that you're not gonna
what's
hit the
that?
block and that she wants. Is that the vibe you got from the call with her? Is that she wants to work with you going forward
She
and that
straight
you're
up said
not
that
hitting
I'm
the
not
block?
even touching. She told me I'm not touching the block. Like not like that mean like I'm not touching the block. I was like, what? What do you mean
If
I'm not
she's
touching the
lying to you,
block?
is that bad gameplay?
Um, I just don't know what the goal of it is for lying to me. Like what do you get from lying to me? Like she says she's trying to flush powers and I don't like why would you flush I don't know. So I don't is it a resume thing? Is it just because it's like a vendetta thing that I lied to her, so now she lies to me. See how I feel? I don't know. She doesn't strike me as a vendetta player, but I guess. Otherwise, I gotta believe it and like be like, if that's genuinely what you feel. I think the big thing is she, I think, had an idea of putting me and Hannah up, and then realized that Hannah's actually really good for her game to stay in because I think Hannah counts for zero. I don't know. Let me double check. I mean, maybe but yeah, Hannah counts for zero against Jackie. And if I go up against Hannah, there's a decent chance that I survive the block. So, so I think she's realizing that, well, if Hannah's still here, who do I put up with Garrett or do I just work with Garrett and keep Hannah around? And so I don't know. We'll have to see what happens, but it's just weird to lie about it, I guess. I don't know what she gains from that.
Now, it seems to me like there's sort of like divisions in Paradise right now, seemingly like one side against another,
Right.
with Jackie in power this week, right? Now, if
Right.
Jackie's quote unquote side never hits the block this week, because we're at the final six, it's three other options, right?
Yeah.
If she stays to quote unquote her side, how do you make sure that it's not you and it's possibly Hannah or Papa? Like, what's best for your game if that's the result? One of the three of you are going this week.
I think the big thing I have is I think Sharonka, I guess I'm technically still good with. I don't know. She's a very tricky person to read when it gets to late game, but she said that I'm the only final two deals she has, so we shall see. Um, and then Benny, it's always good for Benny's game for me to stay so long as types are in play, which they are, because he can instantly vote me out at any point. So I got a good argument against both of those people. It's Papa's always the one that's like I have no idea if like Papa goes whatever way he needs to go. So that one's a tough one. And then Hannah, I feel like I've been good with. So I feel like I can argue against a lot of them. If it gets put up, but genuinely, I think I have Sharonica and Benny based off my conversation with Jackie, where she said Benny and Sharonica want to keep me. I think that was kind of the red flag, maybe to Jackie to be like, okay, maybe I need to repair this if I realize that Garrett's probably going to survive any vote put up, kind of thing. So, which I think is actually possibly true. I think it's a high chance, not a guarantee. Obviously, things happen, but a high chance that I'll survive.
How did you feel about Romeo leaving the game and the manner in which he left? You took some heat because he was calling you out.
I feel
But then
good
when
after.
the
I feel
debug was
good.
like announced, he was like, JK, JK. But
Yeah,
like,
thank
how did you
God.
feel in the moment when being called out? And then how did you feel like when he came around and was like,
Yeah.
sorry, Garrett?
Well, I genuinely, it was so funny. I told Jackie this was like, well, the combination of how Sean went out and then Romeo, I burned Romeo and he seemed genuinely upset with me for like 3 or 4 days or whatever long it was. And then, um, what was it? Then like Jackie mentions that I was like talking down to her. And so I was like, damn, I'm playing really bad. Like I'm really upsetting a lot of people here. Like I was like, man, I'm turning into a goat if this ends up going. So him saying that in my conversation with Jackie, I guess reassures me that I have a winnable game. It was just at the time I was like, "Fuck, dude, what did I say to these people that upset them so much?" I was a little surprised. So, no, it's reassuring. At the time, I was like, "Fuck, man, I am really digging a hole," but now I feel okay.
Is that something that you plan on like watering, so to speak? That, Sean did leave the game quite upset with you. Although Romeo at the end of the day left classy and was like, oh, no hard feelings, Garrett. But like he did still say, like, essentially, fuck Garrett. Is that something that you're gonna like water throughout the rest of this in terms of like selling yourself, undercutting yourself a little bit?
100%. Yeah, I think I got that. I think so long as if Jackie goes or whatever, if I hit a final two with anyone else, which would mean Jackie is gone. If Jackie isn't the final two, then I have the argument that probably both the votes don't go my way. And yeah, I have that argument for probably Romeo too. And I even though like that is true, and I'll have troubles getting those votes back. My tone will change when we get to the end in terms of I have no problem owning the fact of what I'm doing to some of these people and how I am you know, quickly cutting people like very decisively, which I think is what maybe got Romeo upset if he was genuinely upset was how quick I was to do it, and I have no problem defending that kind of gameplay. So I think I feel justified in how I've been playing, and the only thing is like something like Jackie saying talking down to that one's kind of like a that's just how I am apparently and to her, and so that one's gonna be a hard vote to get at the end. If you feel like someone's being cocky to you or arrogant, then it's hard for me to get that vote from that person.
How concerned are you about a possible retro power being played and fucking up your position?
That's why I kind of wanted to be on the block, is because then people like already know I'm there, and makes my argument that much easier. When I'm not on the block and it gets played and I get put up later as like a last resort, then it's like, wait, what deal was Garrett able to make to the person that clearly was wanting him out? So then it might be harder to swing the votes. But it is what it is, and I can't really do too much about it. I mean, if it gets played, it turns to normal Big Brother. So, and which is surprising because we haven't had normal Big Brother all game, but it's a normal round and got to play with it. And if what Jackie said is true, then and I'm not touching the block. If the veto gets played, I'm still not touching the block. And if what Jackie says isn't true, and I am going to touch the block no matter what, then my argument from before my call with Jackie still holds that I think I can defend my being in the game. So it doesn't really change too much because there's still three options either way.
All right. Now, we have any questions? How do you think the live night worked out for you last night?
Um, Not too bad, I guess. You know, I'm still here. You talking about yesterday?
Yeah.
You talking about
Did you like
the
learn any gems based off of something anybody said that made your eyebrows raise?
Not too much. I mean, Jackie trying to make a deal was weird. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you're clearly gonna
That's
beat
funny
me.
though, because like that's like a normal Big Brother thing in endurance challenges when it's like the last two, they're always like, let's make a deal. Okay, safety for safety type of thing. And so I could
Uh-huh.
tell that you're like not a Big Brother fan and that like you were just slightly confused.
It's like, what is she on? She's like, I could do this all day. I was like, you're correct. I don't have much more time. I am genuinely about to drop anytime now. I don't know why you would make a deal with me. You don't need to. You're gonna beat me. Yeah. So I think that's good for me because one, I didn't make a deal, which I feel like she is in a position where she feels like she can break a deal with me, so that's why I didn't want to make a deal. And then two, it shows that I don't know what Big Brother is still, and which I'm always trying to hint at, which is not hard for me to hint at because you can tell I don't know Big Brother. And so the big thing about not knowing about Big Brother is that I don't know what the finale is. But again, like I said before, I played one of these before where I got to third place because I didn't realize that the finale is something usually relatively specific that is game based off of game history. So I feel, or like knowing the cast or whatever. So I feel like I can keep selling that, and people in the back of their minds will be like, genuinely, Garrett is somebody we can beat in the final three and kick him out at the final three. And so like I said before, I can keep selling it. That definitely sold it. And I'm going to try to hopefully get to the final three. And then this time just actually study for the final three. And if it ain't broke, keep getting to the final three, I guess, that's the goal.
And where does your game go for here? Is there like any specific conversations you need to have today to situate yourself in this retro level?
Well, that's why I asked when like the timeline is because Jackie made it seem like she had to put in the glitches like soon. So
Let me
I don't
go
know.
and see. I know that Drew, hold on. I know that Drew, like Jackie asked yesterday when Drew got back around. Let me see what he said. It wasn't made like it wasn't announced, so I don't know if this is like set in stone. Because typically, when it is, Drew would make an announcement. Let me just see what they discussed. I'm on vacation, but let me know at the time tomorrow you'll be around, and I'll do the ceremony then. I have something at 11:30 your time, which is Pacific, until probably about 2-ish. So he's an hour ahead of Jackie. He's 2 hours behind us. And Jackie says probably after 3. Drew says that's perfect. So if it's 3 Pacific, that's 6 Eastern. So my guess, according to this conversation, is Drew will be around 6 Eastern, and that
Okay.
may be around the time that he's around and Jackie's around where he'll link the Zoom. Um, don't quote me on that. I'm just reading based off of their conversation. So let's say 2 hours at the earliest.
Okay. Well, yeah. So, my goal is to avoid any conversations for the next 2 hours, so I don't give anything away. So, which so far so good because no one. Usually, I always have to reach out to start conversations, so I'm just not going to. And so we will just wait. If anyone reaches out, then I will talk to them, and until then, I will not. So that is my goal. At this point, there are two paths. So it's either Jackie works with me, and then I will have my word and work with her. And in that case, then it's a pretty straightforward. After this round, then the goal is to get Jackie and Sharonica to final four, in which case the promise will get us to final three. And then if this doesn't go my way, then I have to somehow get through the vote. And then it's pure like survival at this point and just putting up people that like a Jackie that has betrayed me kind of thing and just go from there. Uh, so yeah, so it turns into pretty. If what Jackie said isn't true, then and I somehow survive the round, then this turns back into what it was yesterday, where it's 2v3, and it'll continue to be like that. And so yeah, so the hope is that what Jackie said is true, in which case I have a pretty solid path to the end.
Excited to see where this goes, Garrett. You're good for episode